Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to be talking about the new update that just came out. First and foremost, Summer Campaign, they added the boost for the XP, proficiency, and gold. You have a 1 gem locking bonus every day. You have a gem spawn free for 1 time a day. And this goes on for 12 days, so that's pretty nice. And they added some of the stuff that you would only be able to get. Not the Azure stuff. I'm talking like the Azure armor, but you could still get like the other stuff that's not Azure armor or the Azure weapons in here. That you could get from like the what's it called, the exchange medals. They added like the gear from the exchange medals except for like the Azure stuff in here, so that's pretty nice. I'm talking about like the Esperetta, Tomboy stuff and all that, so that is pretty awesome itself. Alrighty, so the next thing I want to cover is the Guild Battle Expedition matches. Now, I didn't think they were going to add this very soon because this was added to Japan a while back, but they finally did. Unison attack restrictions, same as guild raid rules. You cannot perform the same unison attack twice until all other unusable unison attacks have been performed. So pretty much if you want to spam that same monster that you always spam, you have to have 2 of them or you can't use it a second time until all your other monsters have been used. Now this is going to be a heavy hitter on a lot of guilds. It's not good. It hits mine pretty hard, but not as heavy because we still have a plan B at least. Like we still could use it a second time and still be able to do pretty much not even half, a little more than half of what we did the first time. So it won't hit us as hard, but it'll still pretty much hit us pretty hard. And then they have a second role instead of I think in Japan they add something like, I think they might have changed it. Whenever you go to crystal round, all your buffs are gone. Instead of that, they added defense ability triggered at a certain amount of HP on the crystal, so that's pretty awesome itself. That they did take away all the buffs when you go to damage the crystal, because that means we can still strategize, and that makes it a lot more fun because it makes it slightly complicated. Next thing, the crystal event. Make sure when you're using the class of your design, make sure when you're using your class, whenever you're doing this, make sure you have the weapon of the class attached to the main slot, because it will increase the attack / magic attack by a lot, as you can see right here. Oh yeah, if I didn't put my line down below, I will. I think I said I was going to do it in another video, but I didn't. So I will do that. And the weapons right here are up to date. They are extremely high gears. They offer pretty much what you would expect from a gem spawn if these were 35 and 34s in a gem spawn. So they are up to date gear score and skill wise. I recommend the skill if you have really good stuff in your main slot. Let's say you have the nullify stuff, the nullify physical and magical damage stuff, and you want to put in your bait slot to increase its proc rate even more. I'd recommend putting this I recommend getting those armors, because those, not the armors, but the weapons and the armors themselves, because those weapons and armors increase the proc rate of whatever's in the bait slot by 25% or something like that, I think. For the first 30 seconds of battle, increases the activation chance of skills equipped in your gear's main slot by 60% when hit by attack. So it goes up to 20 actually. So it increases their proc rate by 20%. So it's highly recommended if you have stuff like that, like nullify physical or magical damage in your main slot, or seal of attack. Seal of attack's that one skill that has a chance to also, besides increase how much HP and damage you do, to actually cover 5 costs. If you have stuff like that in your main slot, that gear right there is highly recommended. But it's really only recommended for stuff like Coliseum, guild battles, and 1v1s. They're not really recommended for player versus enemy, but player versus player, oh boy, especially Coliseums, that stuff will help you a lot. With that being said, I think I already said the gears worth the gear score wise. This event pretty much runs the same way or a similar way as the Mobius and the Coliseum event. They offer a certain set of medals. You have to collect a certain amount of medals, and this will be up and gone just like the Mobius and Coliseum constantly. So this is going to be a come and go event that's going to be around for a long time, and it's going to be helpful for a long time. And so what I'm pretty much saying is, if you expect to get all the medals, most of you don't expect to get all the medals on your first try. It's just going to be just like the Mobius and Coliseum event. Unless you're pay to win like 550k above, no, let's not even say 550k, like 600k, and you have like 3 times the resurrection monsters, you get like every other monster, exclusive monster from a treasure spawn, then you have a fighting chance. You will probably get at least a couple of these pieces on your first try. But for those of you that are not under these conditions, you're not even up to 400k, don't expect to get these on your first try. These are just like those events. You're gonna have to do these a couple times before you start getting this gear itself. So don't sweat and don't stress and don't feel like you're weak or you failed or you didn't put enough time if you don't get these on your first try, because these are not something, these are extremely hard to get. Even for me, I'm not even sure if I could get them on my first try, and I'm up to 492k. So don't expect to get these on your first try if you are not that type of tier yet. Also, for this event, this crystal event, do not do this by yourself. Do this with other people. Search for a squad. Once you hit 300k, that is. Once you hit around 300k, I believe. No, not even 300k. And for anybody who's doing this event, make sure you do it with a squad unless you absolutely cannot find a squad. Reason being is because the CPUs right there, they're not recommended. Trust me, they're not recommended. On 492k, I think they cap out, the CPUs cap out at 300k. They pretty much try to copy your gear score, but that's what they generally cap out. And for the most part, they copy your monsters. Every monster you have, they pretty much use as well. And this is very bad because you do not want to be stacking unless you get to the final like seconds of the actual crystal. You do not want to be stacking elemental units on top of each other because you're wasting time and DPS. So that's not recommended. And these CPUs, especially once you hit 400k plus, they're not even going to be useful anymore because they're weaker than the people you would probably find. So I highly recommend just going with the group. You will get a lot more score this way. And that pretty much covers the update, I believe. Yeah, that does. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And I hope this helped. I will see you in the next video. This is the Azarath. I'm out. Peace.